Well, hello there, folks. It is raining outside right now, so I can't walk outside, but I do have a path in the house that I can walk so that I can still get my steps in. I do not have a treadmill. Used to, but I don't have one anymore. So I just have to walk normally when I'm in my house. I do that when it's really cold outside or really, really hot outside. And I'm like, I think I'd rather just not deal with the elements. Exactly. But anyway, so I'm indoors, just so you know. So how are you doing? How are things? I know we had that major event of a total solar eclipse. We ended up having some really dicey weather that night. Lots of lightning, very noisy. But it seems to have calmed down. Yeah. So, what have I been up to as of late? Still doing drawing my garments without the figure, like I mentioned in the last walk-in chat. And I'm not really sure if I'm totally satisfied with sticking with that process or not. You know, when you're in the midst of a change, you know, there's pros and cons to everything. And it's okay to change your mind. If something doesn't work for you, you know, then do something different kind of thing, which is what I was saying in the last walk-in chat. I just updated some cards in my spiritual deck, which I've also mentioned before. I recommend The Vein of Gold, which is by Julia Cameron, and that's where she talks about the spiritual deck. That's where I got the idea. So I just went through and changed probably maybe 10 cards out of 50. Yeah, I do that periodically because sometimes, you know, there's a shift in what you're drawn to now versus what you were drawn to a couple months ago or a year ago or however frequently you decide to look at your deck. I notice that when I use the deck, and if something comes up that doesn't resonate, and it happens more than once, usually that's an indicating factor that I need to change it and update it with something that would resonate. So that's what I did today. Very, very important to stay current with that because otherwise the energy doesn't quite jive, you know? So that was an important step for me to take. I also have a couple of other things that I want to do that I haven't gotten around to yet because it will take some time for me to figure out what I want to put up and what I don't. I have an inspiration board in my art studio space, and I usually pin up images from magazines that have either really colorful design elements or I just like the color scheme in general that I'm inspired by at the moment. And I kind of feel like it needs to be completely refreshed, which means that I would take everything off the board and then I would only pick and choose from what was there before, something that I absolutely still want to have, and then I would put up new images. And that takes time. I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks and I just haven't done it yet. So other things always take precedence, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's another thing I was doing or thinking about doing, which I don't know. Maybe I'll do it this weekend. Maybe I'll do it next week. I don't know. I have to I don't really need to psych myself up to do it. It's just that I know that it will take some time, and I don't want to start it and then not finish it. Yeah. So I want to give myself at least 30 minutes to take everything off the board and then put everything on the board, you know. And I think I still have some magazines that I have to go through so that I have some fresh images to put up. And I haven't quite done as much as I would like to have done with that. So everything is a step-by-step process, isn't it? Yeah, so we want to make sure that we take one step at a time. And sometimes that's what it takes to get yourself where you want to go. And the smaller the step, the better, because that makes it more doable. And so don't criticize yourself or be too hard on yourself when you don't get to something right away, because you simply haven't made the steps small enough to feel like, hey, I could do that now. Yeah, exactly. So do that with yourself. Whenever you're coming up against, you know, like you want to do something, but you're not quite ready for it yet, figure out what it is that you need to do first, and then make that step as small as you can make it so that you could do it like now if you really wanted to. That's my word for you today, is go really small so that you can do it now. There you go. You have yourself a delightful day, and I wish you the very best of beginnings.